welcome to Beyond the Ball. As the intro was coming on there, I couldn't remember the name of the show. I was like, oh no.
I done it last week. I was going to call it the old name.
Colly, how are you? You're actually in isolation at home, aren't you?
Yeah, dying of Rona. Rona finally got me. I thought it was fake for the last 2 years, but it's after catching me now, yeah. So
yeah,
dying of Rona.
We've got to tell the guest actually that you're contagious. So actually, if you could just turn away from the camera, please.
Catch it through the airwaves.
Okay, very pleased this week to introduce a great player. He's been playing for 16 years, over 400 games, scored just under 100 goals, playing for clubs such as Colchester United, Ipswich Town, AFC Wimbledon, and now currently at Waterford. We have Mr. Anthony Wordsworth. Hello, sir. How are you?
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us. Looking forward to getting into all the grisly details about your career, all the sordid stories, and breaking news here tonight first.
Looking forward to it. Bring back some old memories.
Excellent. Well, what we usually do is we'll usually go into the question section. So these is questions sent in by the viewers and the people on social media that follow our accounts. So let's just go with that. Okay, so I will read out the first one. We have from Pierce Fanning. What was the toughest league you've played in?
I'd have to say the Championship, just because when I took the step up from League One, everyone was just so much fitter and stronger. I played for 3 different clubs in the Championship and found it difficult, all of them to be fair. But every time I played in League One, I found it easy.
Right.
But I think that just tells me that I was too good for League One, but not good enough for the Championship.
Yeah, so maybe 1.5.
And when it comes to that, I suppose, strength and conditioning when you're playing for in the Championship team, do you carry that with you then for your career?
Just when I went from Colchester to Ipswich, the levels was so much higher. The fitness levels, everyone, like I said, the boys are in the gym every day. I mean, now I'm at Waterford, I meet up with Daryl Murphy quite a lot, but he was just like, for instance, in the gym every single day, played in the Prem and like played around, and I'd be thinking like, just go home, like, what's he doing? He's already massive and strong, but yeah, just like in the gym every day and working on fitness, and that was where I just thought like, I'm so far behind, I need to like, if I want to make it at this level, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Still didn't work, man.
Well, actually, I suppose when you were saying you went to Ipswich, but you started out, I suppose, you broke a couple of vertebrae, didn't you, in your first game?
Yeah, I did. I got kneed in the back by Matt Gilks, the Hull City goalkeeper. I tried to play. I played on for about 5-10 minutes, and then realised, something's not right here. I think Talksport called me the hardest man in football.
Jesus.
A nice one to have, isn't it?
Not a bad one.
Should have done a few more weights in the gym. All right, Colly, I'll let you go next.
Right, this one is in from Big Bob 21. Love the name. Best player you have faced?
I'd have to say Dimitri Payet. Just when West Ham first signed him, we played against them, and I remember like I was friends with Aaron Cresswell at the time. He had just gone to West Ham, and I was like, "Wow, where have you found this geezer from? Like, he's frightening." And I remember texting all my friends saying, "Like, I've just played against this kid. I've never heard of him. He's unbelievable." But he went on to prove me right.
And sometimes I suppose, like when you come up against these type of players, do they stick in your mind, and you kind of say to yourself, "I'm going to watch him," or do you just kind of forget about it and move on and kind of fall back into your own routine?
Whenever I've played against good players in the past, I've always like thought I keep an eye out for him. Like another one, for instance, John Lundstrom. I played against him when he was on loan at Oxford quite early on in his career, and just after that, always kept an eye on him. But going back to that Payet one, Dimitri Payet signed, but Gus Poyet's son was there as well at the same time. So I'm telling all my mates, get on this kid Payet. They think I'm on about Gus Poyet's son. They're like, Tony. You're on about the wrong one. I think Dimitri Payet must have not played the first couple of games. I was like, no, they've got this other fella. And then finally come through.
Everyone putting their life savings and all on this lad that you're giving them the wrong names.
Gus Poyet's son. I'm like, no, surely he's not. He's French. I thought he was Uruguayan.
Right, Paddy, I suppose we'll move on to the next one there.
So Larry the Lad 0123. Where did he come up with these names? I swear to God. best team you have played against?
I'd have to say Sunderland when they had Darren Bent and them kind of players. We played them in the FA Cup. Probably playing against better teams, but I just remember that day, probably the best performance. Like I just remember not touching the ball for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Sunderland, they're not that good, but we went the whole game without touching the football. And again, that was when I realised like there's levels to this game. Like Premier Leagues must be frightening.
Yeah. And who was the manager at that time for Sunderland?
For Sunderland, it might have been Steve Bruce.
Right.
Yeah, it was like Darren Bent. We lost 2-0. I think Darren Bent definitely scored both goals, and possession must have been like 95-5 or something.
So you've met what Colly called Steve Head.
Steve Heads, yeah. Called Steve Head, Steve Bruce, because he has a massive head, so we have a little nickname. We call him Steve Heads because he has a big massive head.
He's got a decent nose on him, to be fair.
I wish I had a picture of the chunk out of Goonies now. Remember the Goonies?
Brilliant. Right, we'll move on to the next one. So Grey Squirrel sends in biggest joker you know in football and why?
I'd probably say Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, he's doing really well with Arsenal at the moment, but we had him at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And he just settled like snow. His first day, you'd think he'd been there like 3 years, playing jokes and stuff. But yeah, just always up to something. Just hiding people's clothes and putting people's shoes in the shower. And obviously, when people get annoyed about that, it just makes it even more funny. They're probably fuming. Their trainers are soaking wet. But
so what you meant to do? Pick up your wet shoes and laugh about it.
That's what I mean. But it wouldn't happen like in any other workplace. You wouldn't get a grown man putting your shoes in the shower. But in football, it's just acceptable. Like you'd be 30 years old going home to explain to your wife that a 19-year-old just put your shoes in the shower.
You actually get judged for not doing stuff like that in football.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just different breed.
That's classic.
Jesus, I've heard stories of people doing worse in people's shoes than put them in a shower.
There's actually one. There was one recently, wasn't there? That someone shat in someone's shoe or something.
Yeah. Goes on all the time. I was a part of when I was at Colchester, I remember someone actually got a broom stuck up their bum, and it actually made the papers and stuff, but I weren't involved in that one.
Oh God, look, splinters! I'm just imagining the splinters.
It was. I think a couple of people got sacked over that. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I remember it. Yeah, it was quite bad. It was quite bad. I think one thing led to another, and it just got out of hand.
One thing leads to another. Next thing you know, you're bending down with a broom up your arse.
It used to go on back in the day. Like back in the day, the older boys would like just turn the lights off and come in and beat you up when you was in the youth team. So objects would just go flying everywhere.
Oh, it sounds like the film Full Metal Jacket. I'm kind of never became a professional footballer. Right, let's go. Next. Colly, is it you or me?
Yeah, you.
All right, sorry. Steve, 1989. What manager from now, or I suppose from now, would you like to work under and why? Or from all time?
From all time. Just from now, I'd probably say Brendan Rodgers. I know Leicester are struggling at the minute, but he just has this like aura about him where he seems quite calm. And I just listened to something that Jordan Henderson said about how he improved his career recently in an interview.
Yeah.
And the way he apparently treats his players, he's like, his man management skills are very good. Yeah. So just from what I've heard about him, he seems very calm and just like I'd like to see what he's about.
Yeah, I think this season for him is a bit of an anomaly because he's done great at Liverpool and he has done a great job at Leicester as well. And obviously Celtic as well. So yeah, he's a good manager. And you're a big Arsenal fan, so I suppose Arsenal must be up there, is he?
Yeah. Oh, Arsene Wenger without a shadow of a doubt. I grew up right by the stadium, well, not too far away, and obviously that was always the dream to try and play for Arsenal, but I couldn't even get an Ipswich's team, so.
I apologise for Colly, wearing.
Just covering this up. I just sink down and cover the background.
Sorry about that. Okay, Colly, I'll put it on to you now. Yeah.
Next one is in from Peter Tom. I suppose similar enough question actually. Best or toughest manager you've played under?
Paul Lambert was up there. Overall, Mick McCarthy is definitely the best manager, and probably the toughest, to be honest. You wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him. But yeah, Paul Lambert was really good. Adi Boothroyd was just as ruthless as all of them.
Yeah.
I'd say them three, but overall, definitely Mick McCarthy. He
So
still scares me now. It still scares me now, even thinking about him.
He's a scary man. I do remember a few videos of him actually going around getting frightened by nothing and stuff like that. But it's very funny. But obviously in Ireland, he's obviously kind of loved and hated for what happened with Roy Keane and stuff like that. But like just talking about how he manages and what would your day-to-day interactions be with him as a manager? Was he very hands-on, or would he have been kind of let the coaches do it, or what way was he kind of managing?
No, obviously he had TC with him, Terry Connor, who's he's been with him everywhere, I think. So he'd be very hands-on. Like most of my conversations with him were asking him why I wasn't playing, and when he told me, I wouldn't argue with him back, so I just accept it and walk out his office. But he was quite a fair man, to be honest. You know, people have this opinion of him and this perception, but he's actually quite a big softie. And quite approachable guy, and really good manager. Really good manager.
I always think one thing about him is he realizes what he's got in front of him and really tries to adapt to what the standard he has. Whereas I think that's why you see it with Ireland. Ireland are shit, but he knew that, and he just done great with Ireland because he knew we weren't going to be beating great teams, and I think that was kind of. For me, that was one of the biggest things for him.
I think you need that fear, don't you, for motivation? I think some managers are missing that nowadays. Like you're seeing that at Manchester United right now. I think that fear is missing from
definitely,
the players.
And also like a kind of respect. I think with a manager like Mick, he's a tough man, but I think he's got the respect there as well. You wouldn't want to. He knows the game. Do you know what I mean? So if he's telling you something, you better take it on board.
Yeah. Don't piss him off as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we have Gar5744. Hope that's not his bank pin number. Are there any players that you've played with that you thought should have been playing at the very top level?
I would say just off the top of my head, Mark Yates. I mean, he did play for Tottenham, and he did have a very good career. Like played for Watford and been around the Championship for many, many clubs. But he used to do stuff in training where I'd think like, that's just scary.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I always thought that he would go on to play like top 10 Premier League, and definitely for Ireland. He was Irish as well. I think he had a couple. He might have been in the squad maybe once or twice. I'm not too sure, but I think he played for the B. Do you have an Ireland B?
Yeah.
I know he was in the 21s and in the
21s. It was probably 21s he was with.
But like, even now, as a grown man, I still go on YouTube and watch his clips.
Wow. And what do you think stopped him from getting to the very top?
Probably the same thing that stops everyone else from getting the alcohol. Like, to be fair, he loved the man out. He was like part of that Tottenham group. He was friends with like Jermaine Defoe, Aaron Lennon, Tom Huddleston, and anyone who's out on that London nightclub scene saw them 3 times a week.
If it was career 10 years earlier, he probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It is something that we always come across with a lot of our guests. Anyway, they always talk about that kind of being the downfall of a lot of them was the kind of the drinking and the poor attitude, I suppose, if that's what you want to call it. Is that something that you kind of think has faded out of the game a little bit now, or do you think that that's still kind of there?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's gone. It's faded out. You get the League 1, League 2 teams, they'll have a night out here and there, but I think that's gone now. I think I was like, when I was first coming through, 18, 19, there was like a Tuesday club that was still going. I think my age group was probably the last to see that.
Yeah.
Now everyone's, there's so much money involved in the game now. Everyone's got their head screwed on.
You can't afford to be doing it and getting caught out with stupid stuff. Like, the press are everywhere as well. Like, so
exactly.
Anthony was going to be fucking all over the media. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's it.
All right.
Paddy.
I'll jump now, and then if you want to kick into then the 4 set of interview questions.
Yeah, so this is one we ask all of our guests. If your house is on fire, minimum damage now, obviously, but if you had to grab 2 things from your career, what would they be? So maybe a jersey, a significant jersey, pair of football boots, shin guards, anything like that.
Yeah, it'd probably be the jerseys, to be honest. I mean, I've kept loads over the years.
What's your first go-to?
I'd probably go for I've got an Aubameyang shirt, and I'd probably go for Mark Noble just because it'll be worth a few quid when he retires. I'll sell it to a West Ham fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's your pension, huh?
Yeah. I grabbed a few of them actually when we Wimbledon. We beat them in the cup a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I was in there raiding shirts.
we asked this last week to Keith Fatty, and it was like what was it like for your team when you played against say you got an FA Cup draw against someone outrageous? Was there a race to that one specific person's jersey, or was it kind of you tried to play it cool and you're like, here, look, any chance, like, you know, like hoping that no one else is asking?
Everyone says like, oh, I ain't thinking about it, but deep down they are. Like, if you're playing Man United or a Chelsea, you know, like when the ref's going to blow the full-time whistle, you want to be standing next to someone decent. But yeah, I think I might have asked him during the game actually. When I knew it was like 4-2 and we was going to win, I think I said to him, "Give me a shirt after the game, please. I've got friends who are like big West Ham fans." And he was like, "Yeah, sweet, no worries."
And like, is that a conversation that does go on during the game? Do you want to like kind of get there? So you I suppose like looking at it as a fan, you're kind of saying, what's he fucking asking for his jersey for? But obviously personally, it's a big thing where like I could get this guy's jersey. But like, is that a thing that like maybe you would say to someone on the walk out or in the tunnel before the game? Or is it a respect thing, or do you just wait till after the game? Like
I said, I only asked because we were winning 4-2. I knew we'd won. If it was 0-0 or we was losing, I don't think I could have brung myself to do it. Not only that, I think like the person you're asking as well, they probably think like you're a bit of a donut. Do you know what I mean? You're getting beaten, you're asking for my shirt. It's just like, just not something I would do. But it does go on.
Yeah. All right, that's fair enough. Right. Look, we'll jump off the questions. That's all we have in. So usually what I like to do is I like to kind of get a bit of a background on the guests that we have on. So I suppose we'll go back to the very, very beginning of your career and I suppose your life. Where did you grow up and how did you kind of first initially get the attraction to football, and what was it that kind of brought it to you?
I grew up in Camden Town in London. I started playing. I had two older brothers who were playing football at the time. One of them was all right. The other one was not too bad, to be fair. But my dad took me to my local club, Westwood Boys. Probably started playing for them when I was 7. Got scouted by Wimbledon, the old Wimbledon, before they went bust. So I was there in the academy until that all went bust. I had to leave there. I signed for Charlton.
Yeah.
But when I was that age, like I was at Charlton from probably under 12s till under 16s, but I was quite small.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't play much. I was always on the bench and sometimes even played like an age group down.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, it's not going to happen for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably going to have to go and do something else. I was telling my dad I wanted to be a cab driver. I just wanted a moped to do the knowledge. I was like, all my mates were getting mopeds. I was like, oh, Dad, I want a moped. I want to do the knowledge. I want to be a taxi driver. To be fair to him, I stopped playing for a little while, and it was actually him who ripped to a few clubs to say like, could I get a trial? And Southend, Colchester United, and Nottingham Forest got back to me. I went to all 3, but I thought Colchester was the best fit for me, and luckily I did. I broke into the first team within.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering, like the difference between kind of growing up in Ireland, I suppose, and say England. You've obviously got being in London, you've got so many like high profile teams around you, but they go all the way down through the ranks, so through the levels. So when you're say under 10s, 11s, 12s, how do you kind of find where you're going to fit in? Like, because surely, like maybe your parents or something would be saying, well, hold on a sec, let's get him into Chelsea, let's get him into Arsenal, let's get him into the top teams. Or do they just go, well, what's the closest to home? How do you decide where you try to fit in, like at that age?
Yeah, that's something you have to think about, really. I was training with Arsenal and they actually offered me a deal when I was like 12 years old, but also going to Charlton as well. And Charlton offered me a deal. And I was a big Arsenal fan, but Charlton was in the Premier League at the time. And I just enjoyed it there a little bit more. I felt more comfortable, and I knew a couple of people there already. So I thought I'd go there. And like I said, I was small when I went. I was very weak. And even at 15, I was starting to think that this ain't going to happen for me. I need to start thinking about doing something else. But luckily I grew and went to Colchester. My confidence come back. I went from left midfield into centre midfield. They changed my position. And luckily they did.
Yeah, and like it's so like I always think that like it's fascinated by the complete difference between growing up in England compared to Ireland with football. Like when you were playing at that team, so say obviously you were at Colchester, did you then, because a lot of the guests that we have on, because they play football, they kind of don't support anyone. Obviously, you're a massive Arsenal fan. Like, were you going to Arsenal matches, or was that kind of shut down then, or what? Like, so how did you still support your team while also playing with another team? Like,
yeah, no, I was going to Arsenal all the time. Like, me and my dad and my brothers, we was always over there when they was playing at Highbury. But the local football that I was playing, you're not allowed to do that. So when I signed for Charlton, you have to quit playing for your local team, because obviously they play and they don't want you to get injured, and it all becomes from a young age like quite serious. When my friends were all going to the youth club and playing Saturday football and having a good time, this seemed very like regimented, and at times I didn't enjoy it. I used to pretend to be sick, so I didn't have to go training just so I could go down the youth club and play table tennis. But it was that's just how it was.
So obviously you played for Colchester for a while, and then you kind of came up through the ranks, and obviously broke into the first team and had a good career at Colchester. Like, what was the whole journey like from going from an underage? Like, obviously you were saying there you were a little bit smaller at the time. Like, had you taken a growth spurt in that time, or did they just say no, he's actually good enough while he's that size, or was there a transition for you there? Like,
yeah, well, what clubs tend to do is look at like your parents. Yeah, and my dad's a big guy. My dad's like at a 6 foot plus and real big guy. So I was thinking like, why ain't I growing? My old man's massive. But when I went to Colchester, I think they did look at my dad and
looking at the little milkman.
They were like, I remember them saying like, well, his dad's the size, he'll probably grow, and I did, and I just went there with full of confidence. And the youth team manager Joe Dunn, who's gone on to manage in the leagues, and he's Irish as well and done really well. He just saw something in me and just filled me with confidence. And Phil Parkinson was the first team manager. Impressed him early doors, and broke into the first team. It was a championship season as well, so weren't a bad time to break through.
Yeah, exactly. And like, what's the how, like, just so before I move on to you, Paddy, I just want to ask, so what's the moment like when he tells you on that first kind of, I suppose you have a meeting, don't you? And they'd probably say to you, look, you're on the bench or you're starting. What's that moment like for you? Like,
it was. I remember him saying that we played Hull City again. I made my debut for Ipswich against Hull, but also against Colchester. First start. They told me I was starting. Gone home, told my parents the night before. But because I'd gone from that, I was going from the youth team into the first team. I was like, my fitness ain't good enough. So I went out for a 10K run the day before the game. I thought it was going to improve my fitness. Went out for a big run, come back. My dad was like, hey, you got a game tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I need to get fitter. He was like, well, you're not going to get fitter by tomorrow. So I've done that. I've turned up late for the game. Phil Eiffel, who we just signed on loan from Tottenham, was picking me up because I couldn't drive at the time. We got there late, like 15 minutes late, walked into the changing room. Obviously, thought manager was going to be fuming, thought I wouldn't play. He was like, look, settle down. You're going to play, don't worry. I wish I didn't. Like, we got spanked 6-2. I think I was dragged after like 60 minutes. Someone got sent off and had to go and play left back, and I was all over the place.
I'll tell you what, sorry, you done the 10K run then. all the fast wingers running at you.
Oh, no. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I thought I'm going to struggle. I need to get fitter. I literally went out for a run the day before the game. When I look back now, I think that could have been the end of my career. Like, it literally could have been. Like, they could have seen me in that one game and been like, nah, he's miles off it.
He doesn't have the legs.
That's what I mean.
Little does you know, he's after doing twice the running he should have done the day before. Hey, Paddy, sorry, I'm moving on to you there now.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I want to jump onto your Arsenal supporting the club. So as a professional footballer, starting out your career, could you have played for Tottenham? Could you have played for Spurs or Chelsea?
Yeah, I could have. I would have played for anyone, to be honest. I do think about it.
Had a scored against Arsenal.
Yeah, no, my kids ask me all the time, if Tottenham wanted to sign you, what would you do? I'd be like, well, you'd be living in a lot bigger house. So
yeah, money's money.
Exactly. 100%.
Very good, very good. So from Colchester to Ipswich, you were there obviously in Colchester for a good long time. That must have been a difficult switch for you, I suppose, because even now, like all of us in normal jobs, you leave a job, it's a tough transition. Like, you know, you're getting to meet your new teammates. How did that happen, and how did you integrate then into the Ipswich team? Because obviously it started out fairly badly for you with the injury that you got.
Yeah. Yeah, I was quite nervous, to be honest, because like you said, I've been at Colchester a long time, played a lot of games, and that was the only club I'd ever really known. I'd never had a move before. There'd have been a couple of times like bids had come in for me and it got rejected, but my contract was running out and the club wanted to sell me. So to Ipswich I went, and luckily for me, I knew a few of the boys there. It's always nice when you know a few boys. It just makes everything so much easier.
Settle in, like.
I've walked into dressing rooms, like when I went to Rotherham, Jesus Christ. I thought like they definitely don't like people from down south. I don't think anyone said a word to me for about 3 days.
Oh no!
But yeah, Ipswich. It was. I knew a few boys there, and it was it's very easy, to be honest.
Okay, and that's going back to the injury that you got. How long were you out then after that? Because that was a fairly serious.
I was out for it was a couple of months. And to be honest, I didn't need an operation. They let it heal naturally. I had to wear this like brace, and it sort of like bent it back into place.
Yeah.
Come back.
This is where the broomstick story comes from, is it?
Yeah.
He was like straighten up the back, the broomstick.
You got me there. You got me. Yeah, I was out for 2 months, and I come back, and I scored on my first game back, which made it a little bit better for myself. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's a great comeback. The best club you've played for? Not to put you on the spot.
I would. Well, Ipswich was definitely I'd say the highest level I played, the highest level team I played for. But the actual best team I played in was probably the one at Colchester.
Because you were there for so long. It was.
Yeah, it was. We had a couple of teams there, one under Geraint Williams, which was really good, and then another one under AD Boothroyd, which we should have got promoted. Really, looking back, we're second like the whole season, and last 6 games we fell off. We should have got promoted, but we had a great team that season.
And you've moved around a bit. I mean, the geography of the UK isn't the best, to be quite honest. You're looking at the different clubs here, but when you're moving away from home and stuff like that, did you find that difficult, moving away from home? When you're in a club, when you say like you're in Rotherham there and you didn't get a great welcome, that must have been tough going.
Yeah, that was, and that was a tough one. But I lived in Sheffield, which made it a little bit easier. I don't know if you ever go to Sheffield. It's a student town. It's £1 a drink. So
nice.
And I'm organising me stags for this year.
Just write that one down.
I didn't make any friends at football, but it weren't too hard to make any outside of it. Yeah, no, that was hard though. That was hard going up there, to be honest. I was up there. I was on my own as well. The kids came up when they could, but yeah, when you're on loan somewhere like that and you're on your own, it does get difficult. So especially when you're at the start when you're living in a hotel and you ain't got nothing to do. But yeah, I know it sounds that silly even complaining about it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We've had this a lot with guests coming on that I suppose even when we've talked to Irish people moving to England, where it's probably even more difficult. But it's all great when you're training or you're playing matches, but it's that time in between, the downtime. There's a lot of downtime, and if you're not smart about it, you could easily get sucked into the drinking or the gambling or whatever else is going on. Like very easily. So how did you keep yourself busy?
Well, yeah, when I was up there. There was another lad from London. His name was Ryan Hall. He'd been around. He played at like Leeds and stuff. He was living local to me. Just what the boys do: go bowling and go out for food.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, just spending time together and just trying to kill time. Really, play golf and all the stuff you imagine footballers do.
What's your handicap in golf? You don't mind me asking?
I was down to like 16. I do say 14, but everyone tells me I need to stop lying.
But I'm 14.1 as well, but I don't think I am that.
A couple of the lads at Waterford not that long ago, and I was a bit rusty, to be honest.
Fair enough. It's not bad.
All right, I'll pass it over to you now, mate.
Yeah, so I suppose touching back on what Paddy was talking about there is like obviously the moving away from home and stuff like that. We were like, when we have people on and they do tell us about that whole kind of moving away, like, was there ever any thought for you, say did you ever want to actually get out of England? I know obviously you're in Ireland now, but did you ever say to like, say, I don't know if you had an agent or whatever, but were you ever saying like, look, is there an option to like move to Spain or something? Is that ever an option? Or like, do you ever get contacted for anything like that? Or is that something that just doesn't come up? Like,
I think if you pushed it, it could be an option, but where I had kids quite young, I didn't really ever want to move away. Until the later stages of your career, you do start thinking like, I wonder what that'd be like. To even come out to Ireland, I was was keen to do it. I was keen to get out into another country just to experience it. I'm glad I did.
For a couple better anyway.
So I suppose like we'll move on to you obviously coming over to Ireland. Obviously going from living in London to living in Waterford is there to there. So so how are you finding that whole kind of move across to Ireland, and like what has your time been like so far?
And I came over when it was like COVID was bad. You weren't even allowed in anywhere.
That's good. You probably didn't want to see most of the people in Waterford anyway.
Well, it is a nice place. Like all the outskirts are lovely. The town's just like, it looks like Southend back in England. But I mean, I'm just on the top floor of the apartment. I'm looking out right above the town now. But there's some lovely parts, some real nice parts. And the only problem for me is obviously the squad are a lot younger than me, so I ain't really got anyone my age to sort of like plot with. Last season I had Greg Halford, but he drove me mad. I'm glad he's gone. I'll show him this.
Yeah. So we'll clip that and put it up and tag him in it. So look, obviously you're in an apartment, so that's another thing that I kind of wanted to touch on. So obviously when you move around a lot in England, and I suppose now that you're in Ireland, you're living in an apartment, is it the same type of way that say an Irish guy going off to England would be, where he gets put into digs with maybe fellow players or something like that? What way was it for you when you were moving around kind of through Ipswich, Colchester, Southend and stuff like that? Were you in an apartment, or were you kind of staying with players?
When I went to Ipswich, no, I was by myself. Because I went from Colchester to Ipswich, it's not a million miles away. I mean, I was travelling at the start. I did move to Ipswich in the end.
Right.
But when you first sign for a club, they sort of like put you up for the time being while you sort of find your feet and find somewhere to live. And it's all that of like asking the other players where's nice to live and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But with the Irish boys going over to England, it'll be the same. They'll be put in an apartment. I mean, I'm with one of the other guys, Richard Taylor, who I played with Richard at Barnet.
Yeah.
He played for Southend and he's played in the league in England. So I'm in with him at the minute. Yeah, he's no good at washing up or I've had to teach him a few things.
But so look, obviously, just going back to Auntie, obviously coming over to Waterford, look very unlucky with last year. How did we obviously know what kind of went on, but from an insider's point of view, what was it like?
Do you know what? I came over and we done so well, and we was winning games and everything was going so well. And last two games, obviously the manager's been suspended or whatever. We was finding out just like anyone else. Obviously, it is a strange time to get rid of the manager, but the owner's the owner. He had his reasons, and if that's what he felt he needed to do, that's what he needed to do.
And was that communicated to you? So what way did you find out about that? Like,
I think it just happened so fast. I don't think there was time to really communicate it to us.
They're just for the viewers, Colly, and for me actually, because I don't have a clue what you're talking about. What happened with the manager?
Well, him and the owner had fell out somewhere along the line and had a disagreement, and the owner sacked him 2 games before the end of the season.
Wow.
I think we played the last 2 games with last one game, with Ian Hendon, who was like a coach at West Ham. He came over. He done his best. He was a decent coach. But the owner and Mark obviously had a falling out.
With you being one of the senior players, you touched on it a little while ago. Did you feel a bit of responsibility to assist with, looking after the team, especially the younger players, guiding them a little bit through them last 2 games? And I suppose even from day to day in the club, how do you feel as one of the more senior players?
Yeah, because there's a lot of young boys there. That's the first time they would probably experience a manager getting a sack, but it just happens all the time. I've been at loads of clubs where managers got a sack at different times. Just something you have to deal with. It's an experience for them, and one I'm sure they won't forget.
And am I right in saying that the manager showed up in the last game and still gave us a bit of a pep talk? Am I right in saying that?
No, he didn't give us a pep talk, but he was there. He was there in the stand. He came to watch because obviously he'd put in a lot of work as well, and I'm sure he would have liked to see us stay up and finish off what he started.
From what I've kind of heard from outside is that, like, he was saying there's absolutely no way I'm missing that last game, and it was kind of, that was it, like, I put in all the hard work for that team and there's not a chance in hell that I'm missing that last game. So obviously showed up and watched the game. Like,
he was a bit of a character as well, and to be honest, we just fell off it towards the end. I don't think the manager situation would have necessarily kept us up.
Yeah.
We're just. You said we can swear on this, right?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
We just shit.
No fucking way.
We just blew up at the end. I think everyone had done so well for such a long period of time. We just blew up, to be honest.
Yeah, and like, I suppose then moving on to this season, good start. Optimistic for kind of the season ahead.
Yeah, very. Obviously, new staff. Ian Morris has come in, young manager, hungry, organised, like really, really good manager. Wants to do well. He's got us playing with confidence. I think we're level on points still with the top of the league. So it's early days, but so far I've been really impressed by him.
Yeah, Paddy, I'll move on to you there.
Yeah, moving back to, I suppose, being one of the senior players and the dynamics of when you went to Colchester, being the young lad going in and you having the older senior players there. Did they look after you when you went in, and then do you return the favour now when you were at a club?
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice. I mean, like Lewis, we signed Lewis Britton from Bristol, and he'd just come over, young boy. Just little things like text him saying, "Come on." When as soon as he arrived, "Come, let's go and have something to eat." Great. I took him to Pink's. If there's any Waterford fans listening, they'll know what Pink's is. It's a bit of a lively restaurant. He walked in and went, "Jesus Christ, this place is like Malia." Like the town, it's just like all the clubs are open and there's students everywhere. I think he thought he'd done the right thing.
But that's great, because straight away I was thinking about the football side of things, training or every day. But I suppose it's that integration into the team, which for young people, especially coming into a new club or a new job, even that's the hardest part. And for have someone senior like yourself to say, "Yeah, come on now," putting the arm around them, massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah, it means a lot. And also, when you sign for a new club, like you're going into a dressing room, you're trying to take someone's space, and it can get a bit competitive. So but if you want to be successful as a team, you need to get along and be on the same page and have that kind of like love and respect.
You touched on earlier on managers being sacked all the time, and as a supporter, I'm always watching the top flight clubs, and I'm a Manchester United supporter from my sins.
Fucking
I always get it in. I always mention it somehow. But I'm watching managers go in.
We're talking about anything, and all of a sudden Paddy just turns and we're talking about United. Like, it's just fucking always happens. Like,
no, but could you see the blame being put on the players in terms of do you lose the motivation when say an interim manager is coming in, or the manager's on his way out? Do you not try as hard, or as a professional, are you always giving it 100%?
Yeah, I think you're always giving it 100%, but obviously there will be times where players do want the manager to go. Like I played in teams where probably if you're not playing as well and you don't think the manager likes you, it might be in your best interest for him to move on. But I think you try 100. Everyone tries 100%, but I just feel like when you're down there and things ain't going right, sometimes I just don't know what it is. You just can't get out of it. It's horrible.
It's easy to point the finger then at that stage, isn't it? Because it's like you've got an easy way out by just kind of blaming it on the manager. Then,
yeah, but like the Man United situation at the minute, like the players have to take a look at themselves.
It's embarrassing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just don't get how. I've watched them a few times. I mean, my group chat's brilliant. They're all Man United fans, all my mates back home, and it's just every time they play, it's just I just love it.
It's carnage, isn't it?
Together now.
We have a group chat as well, and obviously Paddy, and then I think there's 2 or 3 of the other lads are Man United fans, and then we 2 Liverpool fans. I'm the solo Chelsea fan, but every Manchester United game, the group just be hopping. Maguire, what the fuck is Maguire doing? How is he a fucking professional footballer? It's just the same shit all the time. Like,
I see even the commentators are starting to hammer him now. I see a clip the other day where they said something about his head. He's got a big head. They actually said it on TV. Thinking it's a liberty. That's bang out of order. He's getting it from the commentary on that style thing. It's not outrageous.
Actually, can I actually? Sorry, I just want to jump in. I just want to get your thoughts on him. Actually, like I suppose the England team itself. Like so, like I know we look at Harry Maguire and we kind of really slate him and give him a bad time, but I think it's probably justified by his performances. Like for you as obviously an England fan or whatever, what is your thoughts on a player like that? Like, do you think that he shouldn't be selected for the England team, or do you think no, look, he is playing for one of the best teams in the world?
You know what?
He has to be
honest, to be honest, I know he gets a lot of stick, but he's playing for Man United every week, and Gareth Southgate's picked him for England. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as supporters are entitled to their opinion, these are like experts. So if Gareth Southgate thinks he's a good player, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself.
He does well for England, though, doesn't he? Like he does.
He does well, especially like in the Euros. Just before Man United signed him, I thought it was a brilliant signing. He was playing brilliant for England. He done really well. So,
and he done well. He done okay for United last season as well. It's just this season has been an absolute travesty. It's been absolutely terrible.
He's made some ricks, and when you make mistakes for a club like that, it's going to get highlighted, isn't it?
But that whole club is just like a big cloud of negativity is over it. So every player is going to be affected by it, really, aren't they? Like it's very hard. Like you want to be Superman not to be affected by that.
They are. Well, they must be cursed, because how do you sign Ronaldo and get worse? Like things are just not going. That's when you know things are not going well for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember my son was 5 years of age. I was actually in Wexford, mobile home, and the news came through, Ronaldo signing for United, and I picked him up. I was like, son, this is the turning point for Manchester United. We're going to be winning next season. And he keeps asking me, Dad, when are we going to start winning? I'm like, I don't, I really don't.
Anthony, can I ask you about the Euros for England? Talk us about kind of where did you watch it, or what was your kind of thoughts on it? Did you think you were going to win it, or
I did. To be honest, to be honest. When we got to the final, I was thinking, this is it. It's going to be it.
The one.
I mean, I was plotted up with all my mates, family. I was thinking we're going to win this tonight. It's going to be a good night. And
did you go out to a pub, or did you gather everyone?
I did. I went to my local pub. I was in my local pub in Camden. Literally, the whole estate where I come from just piles into this gaff. Piles into this gaff, and it's completely mad. And I was with my two sons there. And I was thinking, please win. So that's one of them moments you want to share with your kids and stuff. All the people I was with, my family, I was thinking, please.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't to be. And
so what was the mood like after? We won't spend too much longer talking about the disappointment of that.
The mood was still, everyone was just rotten. You know, imagine the mood was still, Sweet Caroline, all that was still going on. You would have thought we'd won it, to be honest.
Paddy, sorry.
No, you're all right. I suppose, do you see yourself finishing your career in Waterford? Would you like to go back to?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm only 33 at the minute, and I feel alright. So.
Well, now hold on. So Paddy thinks anybody at the age of 30 should be retiring soon, because we had Gav Houlihan on from from Hartlepool, and Gav's only 13, and Paddy was obsessed with talking about him coming to the end of his career. Like, couldn't even.
I should be a financial advisor. It's just I'm saying you should be planning for the inevitability.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'm planning for that. But the aim is to get promoted, and then it'd be nice to have another year in the Premier League. Yeah.
Very good. And then have you thought about what you might do when you hang up the boots?
Yeah, I've done all my coaching badges, but I'm also at university at the moment. I'm doing a degree in professional sports writing and broadcasting. So going down the media route is something I'm interested in. So I'm in my final year of that. Hopefully, I'll graduate in November with a decent.
But if you need any presenter tips or anything, give us a shout. We're always available.
Brilliant. I will do.
Probably go on. I'll pass it over to you now.
Yeah, I just want to. So obviously, I'm going to just kind of backtracking a little bit here. So, talk us through, I suppose, the differences between a day in the life of you playing for Colchester compared to what it's like now playing with Waterford. Obviously, there's probably different levels in it. But what are the main differences that you're noticing between your kind of day-to-day life?
To be honest, not much. Obviously,
really?
change of scenery. I mean, I'm out here. I'm on my own. It does get a bit boring, to be honest, because there's not a lot going on in Waterford. So, but I just keep myself busy with the university work and just spending time with the other lads. Really, like I said, it is difficult because they're a lot younger than me. The squad's made up of like 19, 20-year-olds, so they call me uncle.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah.
That's what they call me. So,
and
so to do, go to the gym and just keep busy, really.
Yeah, you're talking about kind of doing the university stuff. So, would the club have any hand in helping you out with that type of stuff, or is that all kind of off your own back?
They will do. They don't know about it yet, but I'm gonna start asking.
There you go.
I'll start asking the boys that do the media to give me a hand with a few things. At the minute, I've got to I'm making my own blog at the minute, which is part of the degree. So I'm trying to get to grips with WordPress, which is I
find
it quite difficult, to be honest.
Well, us dinosaurs, as Paddy would call us, kind of struggle with that type of thing, you know. Another one I want to ask you is, what was the most hostile ground you've ever played at?
Oh, Stoke, without a shadow of a doubt.
Really? Yeah.
Like, played there, yeah, with Colchester Championship season. We needed like a point to get in the playoffs. We was 1-0 up at half time. Chris Ibalumo, I think, scored a penalty. And I just sat behind the dugout thinking, I don't want to be here. I'm actually scared. Like, I was actually honestly scared. And Mick Harford, who's like a big hard man, was our assistant manager at the time. He's at Luton now. He's like walked into the stand. They're giving him a bit of stick. And I know he's mental, but he's walked into the stand. He was up for a proper scrap. And I was like, wow, this is mad. But yeah, their fans were horrible. Throwing stuff, spitting. Oh, it was just...
Really?
I was only a kid as well. I was like 17, 18. Jeez. I was actually scared. I thought, do not bring me on. The last thing I want to do is come on in this game. I was shaking.
That's mental, isn't it? Like, even like the throwing, like whatever about the abuse or whatever, but the throwing stuff, I think it's a bit too far. But fucking hell, like, because you always hear, we like obviously over here we always hear that thing of fucking cold Tuesday night in Stoke or whatever whatever way they word it.
Or saying that Millwall's also another place where it's not it's not an ideal place to go. They are quite funny though. They have said some funny things before.
What sticks in the mind?
J-Tab was warming up once, and he had like this coat on, and where the coat, the lines had gone in, they were just calling him the Michelin Man, and like, I don't know, I was just laughing. I found it funny, like this little 10-year-old kid going, "Oh, you little Michelin Man." His dad was like, "Go on, son, tell him."
Encouraging it, like.
His dad was encouraging him. But they're mental, them Millwall mob.
That's brilliant. Just a quick one, like one of the comments in there, just from Shane Cameron. May I ask, Anthony, does your kids come over every other weekend, or how do you balance your family with your career abroad?
Yeah, at the minute they're at school at the moment, so they haven't been able to come over. But yeah, we'll get them over. I'll get them over when I can. And to be honest, I've been going back as well quite a lot to see them. Because we play Fridays, we've got the weekends as well. So
it's not bad, is it? Like,
it's only a quick flight. It's just that bus journey to Dublin or Cork is a bit of a nightmare because we don't have no car. We don't have no car out here at the moment, me and Richard. So we're bus wankers at the minute.
Well, yeah, you must find it tough being away from the family.
Yeah, it is, and like I said, it's the first time I've been playing abroad away from the kids. So yeah, it has been tough. But it's just something you got to do.
Well, what age are they? How many have you got?
10, 8, and 6.
3 kids is just fair play to you. So you're getting a nice rest, actually. Enjoy it.
Breakaway. Actually, can I just jump in there, Paddy? I just want to say, because you're touching on kind of Anthony being like the older kind of guy in the group, as you'd say. Is there much like kind of say team bonding being done? Like, are you going on nights out or anything as a group, or is that kind of you're kind of just left here on the voices like kind of after training and stuff? Is there any of that happening?
Not really, not nights that. I mean, we haven't had one yet this season with the Waterford boys. But like I said, I just think like they'd rather go paintballing, or if there was something like that to happen, it wouldn't be a night out. I think it would be probably paintballing or go-karting or something shit. Yeah. I mean, I'd much prefer a night out, but I just honestly think them days are gone. To be honest, they don't really happen anymore.
Come up to Dublin and me and Paddy will bring you on, and it'll be good crack.
I have had a couple nights out up there.
It's good, yeah.
I went up there for the All-Ireland final. Was it Mayo against one of the Dublin teams? I was up there that weekend. I tried to get a ticket for the game, but it was no chance. But
yeah, it was
a good atmosphere though. Loved it. Great people. Like the Irish people in general, just like fun, good crack. So I had a great time.
Yeah. Great, Anthony. We love it. Keep it over here.
Sorry, Paddy. I'll jump back onto you. Sorry.
No, you're all right. Okay. So yeah, Waterford settling there. It's, as you said, the bright lights of Waterford moving from the UK. Do your family even come over to see you? I think, like your dad, your brothers, did they ever come over?
Yeah, they've been over. My dad came over. He come to a game. At the time, we were staying in like a hotel in Tremor, which is just by the sea. Yeah. He came over for 2 days. Discovered that the brandy shots were a lot larger than they are back home. He come to a game. He went to the pub where all the fans go. There's a pub where all the fans go, and to be fair, Waterford have a decent little following.
Yeah.
And he's in the pub drinking with them before the game. got rotten, spent the whole day in bed next day, didn't stop moaning. He ain't been back since.
I love it. You're doing your coaching badges. What type of a coach do you think you'll be?
I think that depends. They ask you on the course like what your philosophy is. So I just think it depends what level you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd all like to play beautiful football, but I mean, depends what level you're at. I'm also fully aware that if I'm at a team where we have to go long, I wouldn't be afraid to do it. I wouldn't be afraid to do that. I've done that for a few clubs.
You have to be a Mick McCarthy. That's where I think the Mick McCarthy philosophy is. He realizes how the players are and plays to their ability.
Exactly. You're only as good as the players you've got. So if your players are suited to play in a certain way, Mick's been brilliant with the clubs he's managed with that, to be honest. But he's not just a long ball merchant. He does like a bit of football, Mick.
Yeah. And that's gone through different generations as well, because football has changed an awful lot, as you say. So over the last 10 years and then 20 years as well, like it's just constantly evolving. Like now, as you said, there's no more nights out. Like you have to be an athlete to be a professional footballer nowadays. So it's a lot of pressure, which I suppose the money comes with it at the very top tier, the top levels. But I suppose you have that bar set against yourself even in the lower leagues. So there must be a lot of pressure for yourself to keep yourself 100% fit all the time. And you've been injury-free pretty much other than the vertebrae your whole career, haven't you?
Yeah, well, you don't at any level, you don't want to be really getting given the runaround. If you've been out like during the week or had a heavy weekend and you're getting given the runaround on a Saturday, you're going to be mugging yourself off. So I don't think players just want to do it anymore. And especially with, I just look at like Aaron Ramsdale, for instance. When we had him at Wimbledon, we had a few nights out here and there, but now he's gone to Arsenal. The last thing I'd do is even encourage him to come out for a night out.
I know,
Like the levels, just the money and playing for England, it's just not worth it at all. I always say to him, like, just keep your head down and I'll send you.
Would you talk to him much, would you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Speak to him quite a lot. I mean, obviously, him signing for Arsenal was my free season ticket, so I'm driving him mad every Sunday for a game, or if I can't go, my parents go.
We'll have him on the podcast in 2 weeks' time. Then, if get on to him,
we'll try and get him on, definitely.
Yeah, try and use him for it.
just give me a little backhander, and I'll see what I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But don't worry, we'll look after you. Paddy, I think we'll start wrapping up there in a few minutes. I just want to ask one thing before I finish up anyway, and it's one thing that we always ask guests: Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Yes,
but
I love it.
I got to be honest. If I had to pay 10 grand to watch anyone, I'd pay it to watch Ronaldinho.
Oh, what player! Yeah,
like, he just, and that's quite sad for a grown man. Like even now, I find myself watching clips of players, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" But, just like watching clips of like Ronaldinho doing skills and just the way he played. Like if he wanted to be the best, I feel like he could have been. But for him, it was just all about enjoyment. He's like making passes with his back and stuff, which is a bit mental.
And in training or matches, did you ever try and mimic anything he'd done and fell flat in your face?
Ronaldinho? No way. I never. Have you seen me play? Just stick it in the channel.
Passed and didn't look by mistake.
That's your nickname.
Sorry, Paddy. That's all I wanted to finish on there.
All right. Well, look, Anthony, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the pod. It's been a great laugh, and really appreciate you sharing all your stories.
No problem.
Love to get you going again when you're maybe a manager and get your insights there. If you just want to hang on, we'll just say good luck and we'll have a chat when we go off air.
Cool, no problem.
Right. Cheers.
Nice
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, thanks very much everyone for joining us. If you're following us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment, interact with us. We'll answer back to everyone that we can. And give us a follow, hit that bell, because there'll be loads more good content coming very, very soon. Colly, thanks very much for coming on again today, as always. And we will see you all again very soon.